Presentation. This machine is designed and built to accurately harvest and chop several types of forage crops planted in row or broadcast, such as corn, sorghum, grass, sugar cane, oats and similars, producing excellent cut forage for ensiling and fresh feeding of animals. Packaging and shipment. For the Brazilian market, this machine is shipped semi-assembled, without packaging, and for export it is packaged in a wooden box. For unloading in the case of Brazilian market, it must be done with a winch or crane, through the appropriate lifting points, and in the case of exports, unload with the aid of a forklift. Machine lifting points. To lift the unpacked machine, a winch with appropriate capacity to the machine weight must be used. In this case, always lift the machine at the indicated lifting points. Safety measures. In the development of the design, fixed safety protections have been adopted in hazardous areas of operation. All guards are fully shielded to prevent access to risky points. This measure aims to guarantee protection to operators and other people involved with the operation of this machine. Header cover. Protection developed to prevent contact with the chain and other rotating components of the transmission, shafts, wheels, gears, etc., during the operation of the machine. Safety protection for shaft ends of the gearboxes. Developed to prevent contact with moving shaft ends. Air inlet openings. The air inlet openings have been designed in accordance with safety standards to prevent contact with the rotor during the operation of the machine. Its dimensions prevent the fingers from passing through the holes and reaching the rotor. Cardan shafts safety protections. Designed to prevent any contact with the cardan shaft during operation. Existing operational risks. Even with the use of appropriate features and built-in safety protections, some residual risks remain while using this machine. This is due to some functional components such as feeding drums and their knives need to be partially exposed for the correct operation of the machine. Never feed the machine manually. Never try to clean or remove remainings of crop from the machine while it is running. Never get on the machine during its operation. Never stand in the direction of the chopped product jet when the machine is harvesting. Do not stand between machine and tractor during the coupling. Do not transport the machine with the outlet chute lifted. Do not attempt to sharpen the rotor knives without proper eye protection. Never approach your legs or feet on the feeding drums while the machine is working. Machine components. Hydraulic cylinder, deflector. Deflector. Hydraulic cylinder, turn, outlet chute. Outlet chute. Protective cover. Coupling arm. Toolbox. rotor, sharpener, gearbox, platform FTN 1000 G3, central aligner, feeding drums, bender, drums, knives, PTO gearbox, rotor gearbox, cardan between gearboxes, hitch, serial number and instruction manual. The machine is identified with a serial number noted on the label located on the rear side, next to the rotor air intake openings and on the feeding drum protection. The instruction manual is located at the rear of the machine, above the rotor housing, inside the plastic box. Items that accompany the machine. Bender. Tilts the crop to facilitate the gathering. PTO cardan shaft. Transfers rotation and power from the tractor to the machine. Toolbox and additional items, located next to PTO gearbox. C3 and C18 cutting gears. Cutting gears C5 and C14. Semi-hydraulic deflector spring. Reverse key rod. Pin punch. Pinion spring pin. Five special safety pins. Items that accompany the machine. Z20 sprocket, Z30 sprocket, machine support chain, Z11 sprocket, stabilizing chain pins and locking pin. Joint links. Hexagonal bolts and nuts for fixing the aligners and bender. Smooth blades, right, left and interchangeable. Smooth wide blades. Smooth narrow blades. Tractor and required power. The choice of tractor should take into account the hydraulic system lifting capacity and the power required by the machine. It is recommended to use a Category 2 tractor, with power from 65 to 95 horsepower in the power takeoff, at 540 revolutions per minute, double clutch with independent drive, PTO and engine. The correct relationship between tractor size and machine weight ensures safety during braking and maneuvering. Aligners assembly. In order to gain space and facilitate transportation, some components are supplied disassembled from the machine. Note that the aligners are different, one is tilted, and the other is straight. Fit the tilted aligner on the outside of the head. Fit the straight aligner on the inside of the head. Fasten the two aligners with the hex bolts E, without tightening the nuts for now. Fit the bender to the aligners. Secure the aligning arch with hexagon bolts, and the corresponding nuts. Note that the bender has several holes that allow it to be mounted in different positions. Adjust to the position that best fits the crop. Remember that the higher the plant, the higher the bender must be positioned and vice versa. Insert and tighten the two nuts F, fixing the two aligners. Tractor coupling. Choose a flat location for coupling the machine to the tractor and keep alert when performing this operation. Approximate the tractor to the machine, aligning the tractor power takeoff to the machine's drive shaft. Initiate coupling by left arm, A. With the hitch pin, couple the tractor hydraulic arm to the machine's hitch, not forgetting the respective safety cotter pin. Then, couple the right arm B, with the hitch pin and make sure that the safety cotter pin is inserted. Finally, couple the top link C of the tractor to the hitch of the machine, with the hitch pin and its respective safety cotter pin. If necessary, adjust the length of the top link by turning it. Cross-leveling. Raise the machine approximately 20 cm from the ground and retract the support leg, looking at the machine from behind. Check that it is leveled. If not, lower the machine and make the necessary adjustments using the tractor's stabilizers. After adjustments, raise the machine and check the leveling. Longitudinal leveling. By looking at the machine from the side, make sure it is leveled. Make corrections by adjusting the length of the top link of the hydraulic lift. Secure one of the stabilizing chain edge in a coupling point from the machine and the other edge to the coupling hole at the third point from the tractor. After coupling, make sure there is sufficient clearance between the tractor rear tire and the machine. PTO cardan shaft. Depending on the tractor used, it may be necessary to adjust the length of the cardan shaft. Check and if necessary, cut the shaft, proceeding as described below. Position the machine shaft at the same height as the tractor PTO. Separate the two cardan shaft parts, male and female. Couple the solid shaft, male side, onto the harvester, and the tubular one, female side, onto the tractor. Place the two parts, male and female, parallel to each other. In this position, there must be a maximum clearance of 30 mm. Mark the places where the cuts will be made, leaving the indicated clearance. Remove the cardan shaft and cut the bars. The cut pieces of the bars and the plastic protection of the cardan shaft should have the same length. Cut the two bars of the shaft. Using a file, finish the cut parts. After cutting and finishing, fit the bars. Special attention must be paid to the cutting and fitting of square profile. For the fitting of the male and female parts, the yokes must be aligned as shown above. How to attach the cardan. Couple the male side on the machine, and the female side on the tractor. After placing the cardan, secure its chains at fixed points on the machine and the tractor, so that they are well secured and allow articulation in any working and transport condition. Connecting the hydraulic hoses to the tractor. Remove protective caps R from valves and hoses. Couple the hoses onto the valves from the tractor's remote control, pushing firmly. The valve controls the oil flow. It is important to regulate the opening of this valve in order to obtain a smooth movement of the cylinder. The ideal adjustment depends on the flow of the tractor's hydraulic system used. Semi-hydraulic outlet chute. Although the harvester is delivered with a fully hydraulic chute, the manual activation of the deflector is carried along with the machine, making it semi-hydraulic. If necessary, follow the steps for such installation. Install the steel cable for actuation and regulation of the deflector through the outlet chute. Install the deflector spring, connecting the mechanical drive cable, after removing the hydraulic cylinder. Attach the trigger to the tractor, in a location easily accessible to the operator. Place the chute in working position. To make transportation easier, the machine is supplied with the outlet chute in the transport position. Lowered. To place it in the working position, proceed as follows. First, remove the nut A to unlock the chute. Connect the deflector to the hydraulic cylinder, using the bolt P. Carefully raise the outlet chute. Fix the chute in working position, fit the lock and pull the lever down. It is important to lock the lever with enough pressure to prevent loosening and dropping of the chute during operation or transportation. If the locking pressure is insufficient, loosen the lock nut C, and increase the pressure by tightening the nut D. Chute in work position. Central aligner. The function of the central aligner, drop, is to direct the crop to the drums and prevent the loss of sorghum bunches or corn ears during the harvesting of plants. It should only be used in corn or sorghum crops. In other cultures, it must be removed from the head. To remove it, remove the 2 screws that secure the drop to the diverter bracket. Theoretical length of cut. Different chopping sizes can be changed according to the pair of gears used, and the number of chopper rotor knives. Possible sizes range from 2 to a maximum of 36 mm. The chopping size chart is located on the machine instruction manual and glued to the machine's roller platform. Always refer to this table to choose the pair of gears that should be mounted to obtain the desired chopping size, according to the number of rotor knives. How to change the chopping size. Remove the bolts A. Remove the protective cover. Loosen the tensioner bolt C. Loosen the chain and remove the bolts E. Remove the sprockets and the chain. Remove the gears and choose the replacement gear pair, to obtain the desired chop size, according to the chart of cuts, located on the machine or in the machine's instruction manual. Access the machine toolbox, where it contains the spare gear pairs, by removing the knob and bolt P. Remove the desired additional pair of gears for exchange, 5 and 14. Place the chosen pair of gears. With this pair of gears, we will get 7 mm chopping size for 12 knives rotor. Before replacing the chain, we must check the leveling between the sprockets. Proceed as follows. Place a metal ruler over the wheels and check the level between them, based on the chain tensioner gear. We can see that the smaller sprocket is taller than the larger sprocket. In this case, it is recommended to proceed with the leveling between them. To do so, we must remove or include shims. In this case, we will add some shims on the smaller sprocket, and recheck the leveling. Leveled wheel. Note now that both gears are leveled, not causing excessive effort or premature wear of the chain. Alignment complete. Replace the chain. Replace the unused, spare, shim washers and retighten the respective retaining bolts. Retighten the chain tensioner bolt, checking its tension. Replace the protective cover bolt spacers. Replace the protective cover. Insert and retighten the fixing bolts. Rotor knives. How to replace and change number of knives. The chopping rotor is sized to chop with 3, 4, 6 or 12 knives. The quantity used takes into account several aspects: product, purpose of the harvest, tractor power used and desired chopping size. In this case, we observe the rotor with 12 knives. The machine leaves the factory prepared to harvest with 12 knives. If you want to harvest with 3, 4 or 6 knives, it is necessary to change the desired amount, according to the following guidelines. Remove the 4 bolts from the rotor cover. Open the rotor cover. Originally, the rotor comes from the factory with 12 knives and 6 launchers. From now on, we will illustrate how to change the configuration from a 12 knives rotor to a 6 knives rotor. Rotor with 12 knives. Lock the rotor before starting to remove the knives. The knives to be removed will always be those positioned behind the launcher. It is recommended to start the removal with the knife closest to the bolt E that fasten the rotor to the shaft. Remove the bolts that secure the knife to the rotor. Remove the rotor knife. To remove the knife holder, it will be necessary to remove the previous knife, to access and remove the last bracket bolt. Remove the bolt and remove the knife holder. Return the removed knife to its proper place, retightening its bolts. Remove the other knives. Important: always remove knives positioned behind the launchers. Whenever removing a knife from the rotor, we must replace the knife foot bolt with the hex bolt class 10.9 MB, full thread, M-16, pitch 1.5 and length of 45 or 50 mm, thus ensuring the fixation of the rotor to the disc. Proceed with the removal of the supports and knives until reaching the desired configuration of knives on the rotor. Rotor setup with 6 knives. Summary of rotor configurations. After the rotor has been reconfigured, close and screw the housing cover. Kernel processing. Kernel cracker screen system. The kernel cracker screen system was developed to process the grains, aiming to enhance the nutritional value of corn and sorghum silages. The grain break is composed of a curved sheet with round and oblong holes, built in special high-strength steel. The high-speed rotor throws the chopped material against the processor. When it hits the holes, the particles break up, which provides greater starch digestibility in the produced silage. The machine comes with a smooth bottom installed for harvesting grass and cane. Use the kernel cracker screen to harvest corn or sorghum. How to replace the smooth bottom for the kernel cracker screen. Remove the 4 bolts from the rotor cover. Lift the rotor housing cover. Remove the bolts D, which secure the smooth plate, bottom. Rotate the rotor and remove the smooth plate E from the machine. Put the kernel cracker screen. Attach the kernel cracker screen to the housing with the same bolts and nuts D that fixed the smooth plate previously. Kernel cracker screen correctly installed. Close the housing cover and retighten the fixing bolts. Speed of the feeding drums. Your machine leaves the factory with the adjustment that best suits most crops. If necessary, you can test different speeds to find the one that best suits the product being harvested. Change the speed of the drums. To change the speed of the drums, start by removing the gear protection cover. Loosen the tensioner bolt C. Remove the sprocket bolts for replacement. Remove the pair of sprockets and gears, to choose a new set, according to the chopping options and respective speeds of the available drums. For this case, the option of gears 5 and 14 will be chosen. For this cutting gear option, we chose Z16 and Z25 sprockets for the speed of the drums. Other speed options are available in the tables contained in the machine's instruction manual. Only use the sprocket combinations indicated in the drum speed tables. The use of unsuitable combinations will damage the platform and void the warranty. After placing the sets, check again the leveling of the sprockets with the chain tensioner. For some sprocket options, chain size adjustment may be necessary. Remember that separate splices for the chain follow with the machine. Replace the unused, spare, shim washers and retighten the respective retaining bolts. Retighten the chain tensioner bolt, checking its tension. Replace the protective cover bolt spacers. Insert and retighten the fixing bolts. Blades of the feeding drums. The harvester comes with 3 blades mounted on each feeding drum. Each feeding drum contains 1 wide blade and 2 narrow blades. This arrangement is indicated for most crops and harvesting conditions. crops with hard and thick stems, only narrow blades can be used on both feeding drums. There is 3 narrow blades on each feeding drum. Crops with soft and fine stems. You can use only the wide blades on the 2 feeding drums. There is 3 wide blades on each feeding drum. To replace the blades, proceed as follows. Remove the bolts A. Remove the protective cover. Loosen the tensioner bolt C. Loosen the chain and remove the bolts E. Remove the sprockets and the chain. Remove the cutting gear located below the smaller sprocket. In this way, the feeding drums will be able to rotate freely, facilitating the replacement of the blades. Before replacing the blades, which will require manual movement of the drums, replace the protective cover as a safety procedure. Access the machine from the front header, unscrewing the blades one by one, manually rotating the drums. Considering that each drum has 6 serrated vane, previously drilled, we must assemble the interspersed blades, that is, serrated vane yes, serrated vane no, totaling 3 blades per roll and respecting the previously mentioned settings. Start assembling the blades using the serrated vanes indicated above. Considering that we have 2 types of wide blades, the mounting position must meet the following criteria. Always screw it on the front face of the serrated vane, even because on the back, this is not possible, due to its support. The pout of the blade must always be down. Sharp edge of the cutting edge always in the direction of rotation of the drum. For narrow blades, the mounting position must meet the following criteria. Always screw it on the front face of the serrated vane, even because on the back, this is not possible, due to its support. Sharp edge of the cutting edge always in the direction of rotation of the drum. Remembering that the narrow blades are the same, we can mount them on any of the drums as long as the aforementioned criteria are respected. After reconfiguring the blades as desired, reassemble the components following the steps below. Open the protective cover top. Replace the sprockets, paying attention to the alignment between them, procedure already seen above. Replace the chain and tighten the sprocket bolts. Stretch the chain by tightening the chain tensioner. Replace the protective cover and tighten the 3 bolts. Before starting the operation, check carefully that the drums are fixed and that there are no loose blade on them. Check the condition of the knives, including sharpening. Make sure the sharpener stone is in good condition. Make sure the cardan shaft is properly locked in the machine shaft, and in the power takeoff of the tractor. Check that there are no leaks in the hydraulic hoses of the machine components. Preventive test. Before starting to work, perform a preventive test as follows. Lift and lock the outlet chute. Turn on the tractor. Turn the tractor power takeoff slowly, wait for the system to fully run, and then slowly accelerate the tractor until it reaches 540 revolutions per minute on the PTO shaft. Observe the operation of the machine for a few seconds. Rotate the chute in order to position it in the direction of the silage transport truck. Adjust the direction of the jet, with the help of the deflector. Once these procedures have been completed, the machine is ready for harvesting. Uncoupling the machine from the tractor. Choose a flat location to uncouple the machine from the tractor. Lower the machine support stand. Set the parking brake, lower the machine to the ground, and finally, turn off the tractor. Before disconnecting the hoses, it is necessary to relieve the system pressure. Quickly disconnect hoses for minimal oil loss, then replace protective caps on hose couplings and tractor valves. Remove the stabilizing chain. Start uncoupling the machine from the third point of the tractor. Uncouple the cardan shaft. Then uncouple the hydraulic arms, left and right. Get off with the tractor. Machine cleaning, unclogging. In case of clogging the harvester, unclog the feeding drums using the inverter tool supplied with the machine. To access the reverse key tool, open the toolbox, located on the machine arm. Remove the reverse key tool, that is bolted into the tractor coupling structure. Remove bolt E. Fit the reverse key tool G to the gearbox shaft N. Using your hands, turn the inverter tool in the counterclockwise direction. The feeding drums will rotate in the opposite direction to the working direction, expelling, throwing out, accumulated material into the platform. Rotate until all material is removed. Maintenance. General recommendations. Never operate the machine for extended periods indoors and without ventilation. The carbon monoxide expelled by the exhaust smoke from the tractor is highly toxic. Keep the maintenance area clean. Wet or oily floors are slippery and dangerous. Always park the machine in a flat location. Use tools in good condition when performing any service on the machine. When replacing bolts and nuts, use the same specification as the original. Always use the proper torque as specified in the torque chart in this manual. Before starting a hydraulic repair, relieve pressure on the system. Periodically tighten all fastening nuts and bolts, every 50 hours. When completing a maintenance procedure, make sure all safety guards are installed before operating the machine. The use of personal protective equipment, PPE, is mandatory during maintenance services on the machine. After the first 50 continuous working hours, it is essential to retighten all the fastening bolts on the machine. For a better view of the periodic maintenance table, see Forage Harvester FTN 1000G3 Instruction Manual. How to articulate the gathering platform. The platform articulation allows access to internal components such as counter knives, smooth drum scraper, etc., facilitating adjustments and maintenance services. To articulate the platform, proceed as follows. Initially, lift the machine through the tractor hydraulics to a height of 10 cm from the ground, which will facilitate the articulation of the platform. Remove the 3 bolts and the protective cover. Loosen the bolt of the tensioner C, and loosen the chain. Remove the bolts from the sprockets and remove them along with the chain. Remove the 2 cutting gears J. Remove the bottom of the transmission compartment. Remove the 2 bolts L. Remove the shackle M. Loosen the tensioner and remove pin P. Carefully articulate the platform to the side. Finally, return the platform to the working position and replace the previously disassembled items. Replace the shackle and retighten its bolts. Replace the bottom of the gearbox housing. Replace the cutting gears and the drive sprocket. Replace the drive chain with sprocket. Replace and tighten their respective bolts, and finally tighten the chain. Replace the cover, securing it with the 3 bolts. Uncoupling the FTN 1000 AT head. For some maintenance operations, uncoupling the header will be recommended. To do so, follow the steps below. Remove the bolts and the protective cover. Loosen the chain tensioner. Remove the sprocket bolts. Remove the sprockets and the chain. Pull out the 2 cutting gears and remove the bottom of the transmission housing. Loosen the bolts and remove the bender. Loosen the bolts and remove the aligners. With the aid of a hydraulic winch, connect the chain to the header lifting points. Raise the header to a height where a support stand can be placed at the indicated point. Loosen the 4 bolts and remove the right side access cover. Repeat the procedure on the left side, loosening the 4 bolts and removing the side cover. Loosen and remove bolt A. Loosen the right T-bolt. Repeat the procedure loosening the left bolt B. Loosen the left T-bolt. Through the side access, loosen the right inner bolt that secures the header to the harvester. Repeat the operation, removing the left inner bolt that secures the header to the harvester. With the aid of the hydraulic winch, lift and move the head in the opposite direction to the harvester, uncoupling it from the machine. Coupling the FTN 1000 AT head. Position the T-bolts horizontally so that the head fits perfectly. With the aid of the hydraulic winch, move the header towards the harvester. Insert the left and right inner bolts to attach and secure the header to the harvester. Important: check that there is no step between the header and the harvester, thus indicating a perfect fit. After the fit, tighten the internal bolts on the right and left sides of the head, and then replace the side access covers. Then retighten the T-bolt, right side. Insert and tighten bolt A. Retighten T-bolt, left side. Repeat the procedure on the other side, inserting and tightening bolt B. Afterwards, lower the machine through the tractor hydraulics. Replace the bottom of the gearbox housing. Replace the cutting gears and the drive sprocket. Replace the drive chain with sprocket. Replace and tighten their respective bolts and finally tighten the chain. Replace the cover, securing it with the 3 bolts. Sharpening the rotor knives. The sharpener incorporated into the harvester makes it possible to sharpen all the knives together, at the harvest site. Sharp knives consume less tractor power to chop the plants, reduce fuel consumption, and ensure the best cut quality. Remove the 3 bolts and the protective cover. Loosen the chain tensioner. Remove the bolts from the sprockets. Remove the sprockets and the chain. Remove the cutting gears. Replace the cover before starting sharpening. Loosen the handle by turning it counterclockwise, moving the stone away from the sharpener. Remove the Q handle to access and remove the sharpener cover. Turn on the tractor and activate the power takeoff until it reaches the working speed, 540 revolutions per minute in the PTO shaft. Position yourself beside the machine, using the PPEs required to perform this operation. Carefully, turn the handle clockwise until the sharpener stone touches the knives. Tighten handle O to press the stone against the knives. Maintain the sharpening for approximately 10 seconds. Loosen the handle by turning it counterclockwise, moving the stone away from the sharpener. After sharpening, turn off the power takeoff, then the tractor and remove the starter key. Replace the cover and retighten the Q handle. Turn handle O counterclockwise to secure the sharpener stone by locking it in the cover. Open the protective cover top. Replace the cutting gears and the drive sprocket. Replace the drive chain with sprocket. Replace and tighten their respective bolts and finally tighten the chain. Replace the cover, securing it with the 3 bolts. How to change and adjust the rotor counter knife. In order to access the counter knife, it is first necessary to articulate the platform, proceeding as we will show next. Initially, lift the machine through the tractor hydraulics to a height of 10 cm from the ground, which will facilitate the articulation of the platform. Remove the 3 bolts and the protective cover. Loosen the bolt of the tensioner C, and loosen the chain. Remove the bolts from the sprockets and remove them along with the chain. Remove the 2 cutting gears J. Remove the bottom of the transmission compartment. Remove the 2 bolts L. Remove the shackle M. Loosen the tensioner and remove pin P. Carefully articulate the platform to the side. Remove the 3 bolts N. Remove the scraper. Remove the 2 bolts P. Remove the counter knife M, and invert the use side, remembering that it has 4 lives. If all sides are already worn, replace it with a new one. To adjust the counter knife at this time, insert and move it, leaving a maximum clearance of 0.5 mm between the knives and the counter knife. Fix the counter knife again by retightening the 2 bolts. With the help of a stick, turn the rotor in the opposite direction to the working direction, for at least 1 complete turn, making sure that none of the knives hit the counter knife. To adjust the scraper, replace it and leave it as far forward as possible, keeping its bolts still loose. Return the platform to the working position. When you return it, the scraper will be moved to the correct working position. Keep it in this position. Manually rotate the drums to confirm the scraper setting. Pivot the platform sideways again and definitively tighten the 3 scraper bolts. Finally, return the platform to the working position and replace the previously disassembled items. Replace the shackle and retighten its bolts. Replace the bottom of the gearbox housing. Replace the cutting gears and the drive sprocket. Replace the drive chain with sprocket. Replace and tighten their respective bolts and finally tighten the chain. Replace the cover, securing it with the 3 bolts. In case of breakage, change the sharpener stone, or when you find that it has lost its sharpening ability. Remove the bolts and the protective cover. Remove the sprocket bolts. Loosen the chain tensioner. Remove the sprockets and the chain. Pull out the 2 cutting gears and remove the bottom of the transmission housing. Remove the 3 nuts that hold the sharpener stone. Remove the sharpener from the machine. Install a new set of stone on the sharpener skirt. To do this, follow the steps below. Turn the handle and remove the pressure adjustment spring from the stone. With an Allen wrench, remove the bolt that holds the spring guide. Remove the housing from the sharpener. Remove the 3 bolts holding the shaft to the sharpener stone. Replace a new stone in the sharpener, following the reverse order of its disassembly. Insert and tighten the stone shaft bolts. Replace sharpener housing. Insert the guide into the handle shaft and then the spring. Screw the handle onto the sharpener housing, properly positioning the guide. Finally, tighten the guide bolt on the sharpener housing shaft. Always use original Nogueira stones. Parallel stones can break during sharpening and cause an accident with personal injury and machine damage. To align the sharpener stone, remove the protective cover by turning handle Q counterclockwise. Tighten the 3 adjustment nuts B until the end of the bolt. Rotate the knives, leaving them in position, forming a V. Fit the sharpener back into the machine, touching the stone to the knives. Loosen the 3 adjustment nuts until they touch the sharpener. Fit and tighten the 3 sharpener nuts. Turn the handle counterclockwise and move the stone away from the knives. Replace the bottom of the gearbox housing. Replace the protective cover. Run the machine to 540 revolutions per minute at the tractor power takeoff. Carefully turn handle clockwise until the sharpening stone touches the knives. Loosen the handle by turning it counterclockwise, moving the stone away from the sharpener. Turn off the power takeoff, then the tractor, and remove the starter key. Remove the bottom of the transmission compartment. Remove the 2 bolts L. Remove the shackle M. Loosen the tensioner and remove pin P. To better check the adjustment, articulate the head exposing the rotor knives. Observe carefully and check that the stone is touching all the knives, evenly. Alignment complete, insert sharpener cover. Turn the handle clockwise until it touches and locks the stone into the cover. Pivot the head back and lock it in the correct position. Replace the shackle and retighten its bolts. Replace the bottom of the gearbox housing. Replace the cutting gears and the drive sprocket. Replace the drive chain with sprocket. Replace and tighten their respective bolts and finally tighten the chain. Replace the cover, securing it with the 3 bolts. Safety pins. The harvester is equipped with 2 safety pins located on the shafts of the cut-size gears. The function of these pins is to protect the machine in case of entry of any foreign matter or if an overload occurs during harvesting. When one of the safety pins breaks, the gathering platform stops working immediately even though the rotor continues to rotate. In case of breakage, replace it with another one of the same specification. Remove the bolts and the protective cover. Loosen the chain tensioner. Remove the sprocket bolts. Remove the sprockets and the chain. Pull out the 2 cutting gears. Identify and remove the broken safety pin. Pull out the 2 cutting gears and remove the bottom of the transmission housing. Using the pin punch found in the machine toolbox, remove the safety pin that is broken. Usually, the pin that breaks is the one on the shaft with the largest cutting gear. In addition to the conventional pins, 5 more special safety pins, with greater hardness, are provided along with the machine. Install a new special safety pins. Using a compression punch or 2 hammers, crimp the pin's ends so that they are tightly mounted. After changing the pin, replace the bottom of the gearbox housing and the cut-size gears. Replace the sprockets, paying attention to the alignment between them, procedure already seen above. Replace the chain and tighten the sprocket bolts. Stretch the chain by tightening the chain tensioner. Replace the protective cover and tighten the 3 bolts. Feeder drums knives. Each drum is equipped with 6 reversible knives. The good conditions of use of these knives guarantee better performance of the head and final silage quality. Immediately replace worn or damaged double-sided knives. How to invert or change the drum's knives. Lift the machine and place an easel as support and safety. Remove the aligners by removing the bolts P. To remove the knives, loosen the 2 bolts, A, responsible for fixing them to the feeding drum. Since one of the sides is still not worn out and since the knives are reversible, 2 lives, we can reuse it by swapping it with the other drum. Considering that this knife that we are going to remove has a new opposite face, we can exchange it with the other drum. How to invert or replace the cleaners. Feeder drums are equipped with 2 cleaners each. The function of these cleaners is to prevent the accumulation of crop or dirty under the drums. The cleaners are reversible. When they are worn, change them from the other drum to use the other side. With an Allen wrench, loosen and remove the bolt that holds the cleaner. If one of the sides is still virgin, we can reuse it by exchanging it with the other drum. Chain adjustment. Inadequate chain tension may cause noise and premature wear. Check the slack every 50 hours of work or weekly. Make the adjustment whenever necessary. To adjust the chain, remove the sharpener cover. Loosen the tensioner bolt A. Push the sprocket wheel against the chain until clearance is released. Check the tension of the chain. Replace the protective cover and tighten the 3 bolts. Lubrication. Proper and regular lubrication is essential to ensure good machine performance and durability. The indicated intervals take into account its use under normal working conditions. In severe conditions, intervals should be reduced. Periodic inspections and the use of clean, quality lubricants are recommended. Grease lubrication. Grease fittings. Lubricate the grease points, A, from the chute turning every 8 hours of work or daily. Lubricate the grease points, B, of the gathering platform, every 8 hours of work or daily. Apply a light coat of chain oil, for example, Maxlub ND03 Bardol. If available, use special chain lubricant, spray grease. Lubricate every 40 hours of work. Lubricate the grease points, C, of the cardan shaft crosses, every 8 hours of work or daily. Lubricate the cardan shaft bars every 20 hours of work. Lubrication of drum's gearbox. It is recommended when servicing the gearbox or at the end of each harvest. To do so, the old grease must be replaced with new grease. Box grease capacity 3 kg. Example: Lubrax LITH00. Lubrication of the gathering platform gears. During the season, lubricate the 3 grease points every 8 hours or daily. When servicing the gearbox or at the end of each season, it is recommended to replace the old grease with new grease. Grease capacity: 1.2 kilograms. Use lithium-based grease, NLGI2 classification. Example: Lubrax LITH 2. Crown and pinion box lubrication. Lubricate the grease point, D, every 8 hours or daily. Sharpener lubrication. Lubricate the sharpener grease fitting every 8 hours or daily. Oil lubrication. Gearboxes. The first change must be made after a week or 50 hours of work. Other changes every 500 hours of work. For replacement, proceed as follows. Place a suitable container to collect the oil that will drain from the box. Remove the drain plug and allow the oil to drain completely. Replace the drain plug. Remove level screw. Remove the breather screw. Fill with recommended oil until the beginning of the leak in the level hole. Replace level screw. Replace and tighten the breather screw. Oil lubrication. Rotor gearbox. Repeat procedure for rotor gearbox. Daily cleaning. As important as preventive maintenance is the daily cleaning of the machine. Remove all crop residues from the machine, especially from the cutting header. Thoroughly wash the machine, drying any water that has accumulated. Do not use high-pressure machines for greater durability of hydraulic components. Annual overhaul. The annual machine overhaul should preferably be carried out by an authorized dealer. In addition to washing the machine completely, replace worn or damaged parts. Carry out general lubrication. Apply a thin layer of anti-corrosive oil on metal parts, retouch the paint of the parts where necessary and replace the damaged safety stickers.